9/11, New York's Times Square, San Bernardino, Madrid train attacks, the shoe bomber, London suicide blasts. All these terror attacks have a common link. The threads lead back to Pakistan. Hello and welcome to this very special episode of Explained by NewsX. Today, we will be taking a look at Pakistan's global terror footprint. September 11, 2001. At 8:46 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11 crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. A mere 17 minutes later, United 175 struck the South Tower. By 9:37, the Pentagon, the headquarters of the US Department of Defense, was hit, and at 10:03, Flight 93 went down in Pennsylvania. Nearly 3,000 people lost their lives in what would become the deadliest terror attack in history. The US quickly identified the mastermind, Osama Bin Laden. He led Al-Qaeda, a terror network with deep roots in Afghanistan. But their trail did not stop there. It extended further into neighboring Pakistan. Osama Bin Laden was found 10 years later in Abbottabad. This was a mere 1 kilometer from the Pakistan Military Academy. Now we all know of his fate. But it wasn't just Bin Laden. The key architect of 9/11, Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, was captured in Rawalpindi in 2003. He was living comfortably in a house reportedly shielded by elements of Pakistan's intelligence service. He is currently held by the United States at the Guantanamo Bay detention camp. But that's not all. The hijacker pilot of American Airlines Flight 11, the ringleader of the September 11 attacks, Mohammed Atta, traveled to Pakistan before moving to Hamburg, where he planned the attacks. Mere 3 months after 9/11, that is in December 2001, there was a shoe bombing attempt at a transatlantic flight from Paris to Miami. Richard Reed, a British national, tried to detonate explosives in his shoe mid-flight. However, his bid to blow up the plane failed as passengers stopped him. Initially a petty criminal, Reed converted to Islam as a young man in prison in 1995. And within 3 years, that is in 1998, he was voicing extremist views. And in the span of another year, he landed himself in Pakistan, training at terrorist camps. It does not end here. In 2002, the nightlife hub of Bali turned into a war zone. 202 people, mostly tourists, were killed and 209 were injured in 3 coordinated blasts. Imam Samudra, one of the masterminds, admitted that the Bali attacks were part of Al-Qaeda's global jihad strategy. Another one of the key figures of the attack, Umar Patek, had links to Pakistan. An Indonesian national, he was a member of Jemaah Islamiyah and was linked to Al-Qaeda. From 1991 to 1995, Patek stayed in Pakistan, initially residing in Peshawar. He received military training at the Mujahideen Academy in Sada. He was wanted by the United States of America for years, to the point that a $1 million reward was being offered for information leading to his capture. A decade after the attack, Patek was convicted for his involvement in the bombings, but fast forward another decade, he was released from prison in 2022. Pakistan's terror footprint was also found in Madrid. In March 2004, 10 bombs exploded across 4 commuter trains in the space of just a few minutes. Smoke choked the air, screams echoed through tunnels, and fear swept across Spain. 191 people were killed and over 2,000 injured. It was Europe's worst terror attack in modern history. The sheer scale of the attacks pointed towards a terror nexus. Now, within days of the attack, Spanish police uncovered a network of Islamist extremists, many of them North African. But deeper still, they found phone records, explosives, and documents that led to one of the most obvious pieces of the puzzle, Pakistan. One of the main suspects, Sahrane bin Abdul Majid Fakir, known as the Tunisian, was believed to have ties to radical networks stretching from Morocco to Pakistan. Another, Rashid Burhanim, was linked to a mosque in Karachi known for its extremist preachings. A year after the attack in Madrid, a terrible tragedy took place in London. On 7th July 2005, at 8:50 a.m., 3 bombs exploded almost simultaneously across the London Underground at Aldgate, Edgware Road and Russell Square. Just an hour later, a 4th blast tore through a double-decker bus at Tavistock Square. 52 people were killed and over 700 were injured. The probe into the attack led to a chilling realization. The attackers weren't foreign infiltrators, they were British. The suicide bombers were young British men born or raised in the UK. So what exactly went wrong? The answer is simple. They were radicalized. Their radicalization and their training led investigators far beyond London, and you've guessed it correct, it led to Pakistan. In the months leading up to the attack, Siddiq Khan and Shehzad Tanveer travelled to Pakistan. There, they disappeared into the tribal belt, areas known for harbouring Al-Qaeda operatives and training camps. Footage recovered by investigators even showed Khan praising jihad, with footage traced to a Pakistani safe house. In this case, local attackers were radicalized both online and offline. They were connected to a global network, and at the center of that web were jihadist safe havens in Pakistan. These havens were linked to a car bombing plot in New York's Times Square in 2010. On 1st May 2010, just before 6:30 p.m., a dark Nissan Pathfinder was spotted abandoned on 45th Street. Smoke was billowing from the inside, but it was not a malfunction. It was a bomb rigged to kill. Inside the car, propane tanks, gasoline cans, fireworks and alarm clocks were all wired for destruction. Had it worked, hundreds could have died in the heart of Manhattan. But the bomb failed. Within 53 hours since the hunt for the suspect had commenced, the authorities had a name: Faisal Shehzad, a 30-year-old naturalized US citizen from Pakistan. He was arrested at the John F. Kennedy International Airport just minutes before fleeing the States. He seemed like any other American, a graduate, a father, a neighbor. But behind the quiet exterior was a man transformed, and his journey took investigators across the world to Pakistan once again. In 2009, Shehzad had traveled to Pakistan for 5 months, but he did not go to visit his family. Instead, he slipped into Waziristan, a region that is notorious for its terror camps. There, Shehzad met operatives from Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. US officials later confirmed he received bomb-making training and funding from the group. Pakistan's terror tentacles are also linked to the San Bernardino mass shooting. On 2nd December 2015, the Inland Regional Center in San Bernardino in California witnessed carnage. 2 armed individuals stormed in and opened fire. Within minutes, 14 people lay dead and 22 were injured. It is touted as one of the deadliest mass shootings in modern US history. The killers weren't strangers. One of them, Syed Rizwan Farooq, was a county employee, and his wife, Tashfeen Malik, had entered the US just a year before on a fiancé visa. The couple had a 6-month-old baby. They lived in a quiet neighborhood, and to neighbors, they seemed like a normal Muslim American family. But behind closed doors, something dark had taken root. Investigators quickly uncovered that the attack was not spontaneous. It was premeditated, ideologically driven, and the deeper they dug, the clearer the connection became. The roots of this radicalization stretched back to Pakistan. Tashfeen Malik had spent most of her life in Pakistan. She studied at a conservative Islamic university in Multan, which is known for its ultra-conservative teachings. There, She was reportedly influenced by Wahhabi-style ideology and became increasingly radicalized. US intelligence found evidence that Malik had been in contact with known extremist figures online, many linked to terror groups operating from Pakistan. Now, in all these tragedies, there is one glaring pattern. The coordination, training, and funding point to groups which all lead back to one country, Pakistan. But as the world grapples with transnational terror, Islamabad constantly denies involvement. Despite the terror rot claiming thousands of lives, questions about state complicity, safe havens, and the global cost of inaction still persist. But as Hillary Clinton put it, snakes nurtured in Pakistan's backyard will eventually come to bite it back. Well, that's all we have for now. Stay tuned for more.